Welcome back, this is StudMuffin1986, and today I'm going to be doing a guide on how to play with the Russian medium tier 4 T28 tank. Now, many that come across and play with this tank, especially those that are newer to this game, really hate this tank, because this is another one of those tanks that are classified as a paper tank. So first, let's go into its role. So when looking at the upper left-hand corner, we do see the triangle with the two lines, meaning it is a medium tank. So your whole role with this tank is to spot and flank, quickly get to effective positions on the battlefield to report enemy positions to your teammates so they can close in and help more effectively. So when going in and now looking at the armor, this will go to show why so many people dislike this tank, which you can see just with another tier 4 cannon pointing against this thing really doesn't have that much armor. But surprisingly, you can see the tracks have a great amount of side armor to them, which surprised me a little bit when first looking at this thing under the armor inspector. That's where all the armor was. But you can see that another tier 4 cannon is not going to have that hard of a time penetrating this tank. I mean, just about anywhere that I point on this thing is going to have a good chance of pinning it, except here in this very strange track area, which is where it looks like they put all the armor. And even, you know, along the rear, there you've got a little bit of sloped armor, but it's not that hard to penetrate, classifying this as a paper tank. So you're never wanting to put yourself in positions that you're going to have to rely on your armor at all. With this type of tank, you're going to want to be relying on the landscape as much as possible, rocks and other things to protect yourself. Gun depression is okay at -6, not the greatest. You will have a hard time coming up over hills and pointing your cannon down far enough to get those really good, effective angled shots. So that can make it a bit difficult. And then looking at the gun's flexibility, it's really not that bad. You do have a fairly quick rotating cannon and turret that really do help. And so you can quickly turn and face the direction that you want to really pick shots off those enemies very quickly. Once again, you just can't rely on your gun depression very much trying to get those steep angled downward shots. So looking at the cannon, it does have a decent amount of penetration at 140, 112 alpha damage, which is not bad, 13.62, and rate of fire, which is really good. And then aim time, 1.8, and dispersion, 0.34. Really isn't too bad, making this a fairly accurate cannon, being able to pinpoint and shoot targets even from a further distance away. Highly recommend getting the multi-purpose restoration pack if nothing else to be credit conservative. And then once again, no provisions because they're just expensive. And then for ammunition, being that this tank's penetration is already not bad, I'm just going to load it up with mainly AP rounds, not using APCR rounds since those are very expensive and you can lose a lot of credits that way. Just using those, and just a couple HESH rounds for some quick base shots when they're trying to cap. And then the gun rammer to increase rate of fire, spotting optics, just because I am a medium and I need to spot, that's my role. And then just to increase my aim time, just to be a little bit faster, but using the binoculars would also be a good part of the equipment. So let's go into some gameplay here. Here we're on Castilla. I'm one of the lower tiers. And you'll notice right off the bat, I'm quickly going to position myself so I can help my team in spotting where these enemies are so that they can close in. I don't know how that T1 was able to beat me up here, but once again, you see how I'm relying on this hill over to my right, and also these rocks right over here on my left, to just move up, point my cannon down, try to figure out where the enemy is. I see that the T1 right here is just practically doing my role, which he shouldn't. So I'm going to move up fairly quickly to help him out so he's not by himself. Detected a guy So we're just going to go ahead and take care of him. Looks like just the guy that saved. See, that doesn't even make any sense. And why he didn't move the whole game until we started hitting him. It's just, well, it's like, why even play World of Tanks if that is what you're going to do? I just don't get it. It just blows my mind. So here I'm going to keep moving, keep traveling around the flank. I can see that my team's already spotted most of them up on that hill, which they do have the high ground advantage, but look at also the other problem, is that there's a lot of open shots that you can end up taking on these enemies up here on this hill, just simply moving around, you know, trying to get any shots here that I can off these really small, fast light tanks, which can be a little difficult. I see that I'm detected. I'm going to move behind the hill a little bit. However, I'm being very aware that no one's even pointing their cannon at me, so I don't even really care how my tank's angled. I've got it pointed in a direction, so if they do start, I can just quickly move over and get behind that hill. So just kind of looking around, being very situationally aware. I see I've got just more targets. I don't even have to move. I mean, this is like every player's dream, is just to sit there in one place. I almost feel like a noob, just not even doing anything, just sitting in one place and just taking shots at everyone. So probably not a very fair gameplay replay to show you how to effectively use this tank. I'll do another game just to make this fair, so you can actually see how to play with this thing in a more serious situation. The team's doing pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and start moving, close in here. Enemies just clear out in the open, absolutely no protection. He has his weak side to me, and I'm just gonna keep raining down fire on him. Just this battle was pretty easy, but you know, they tried. I definitely was at that point in one time when I played World of Tanks, so I definitely don't blame them. I know exactly what that feels like and what it's like. And so, yeah, I mean, pretty easy, but probably not the most effective replay in showing you how to play with this tank. But, you know, came out on top, did a lot of damage. I didn't really have to move around a whole lot. And when you do have those positions where you can just rain down fire and not move, then don't move. If you've got a lot of good shots, and yeah, you can just rain down that fire upon them. So going into Castilla again, same exact situation. However, this time this replay is going to show you much more effectively how to use this tank in a serious situation. So coming up here to help my teammates detect him. Looks like we detected one of them. One guy's moving up, moved back behind the hill, got detected. I'm being very situationally aware of where enemies could be positioned to take shots on me, so I'm relying on the rock. You can see my gun depression isn't very good, so I can't lower my cannon down a ton. Looking over, I see that looks like the majority of them went up on top of that hill. A couple of them coming up over here. Pop a shot into him while he's not paying attention. I see that most of the action is going on over here, and so I'm going to try to get myself in a position where I can pop a lot of good shots into these guys over here and not try to face those guys on the hill behind me, doing practically a face-off, relying on my armor. Well, looks like they're coming up. He's just barely peeking over. Not sure what happened to my shell there, but being he's not focusing on me, might as well just go ahead and keep popping shots. So I'm going to quickly get over here. I'm going to stay closer to the far left-hand side so that it's not as easy for these enemy tanks up here to spot me. So using this bush, just continually just popping shots in them as long as they stay detected. Just kind of move up, see if I can get some more shots. So utilizing the gap between your enemies and your own tank, trying to increase that distance, will really help with a tank like this, because you have an accurate cannon, meaning you can pinpoint and shoot things at a further distance. You have good penetration, so you don't have to worry as much about not being able to pen them. And you don't have really any armor, so you can't put yourself in a position that, one, you're going to be relying on your armor, or two, just getting too close so that they can end up choosing to close the gap on you, because you'll just get absolutely wrecked and destroyed. So this guy came around the corner. I know he's practically a paper tank, being a light tank, and I've got a very good penetrating cannon. I'm going to continue angling myself so that not so much the front of my tank is toward him, but my well-armored tracks are facing him, and just moving back and forth, hoping that the majority of his shells are going to hit my track. That side plate that we saw on the armor inspector, that was pretty well protected, and I was able to even bounce some of his shots off, having that side track armor, which wasn't too bad. So I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to aggressively just go over here to the right again, move up. Looks like it's a tie 3 versus 3, and I'm going to see if I can get another angle on these enemies. And that's another thing that you want to do in Blitz, is if you have your entire team on just one side, and you know where the enemies are, is sometimes it's better just to even go and branch out just a little bit to get a different perspective on the enemies, so that you can cause a little bit more trouble for them. Because if you're all kind of right in one spot, you only have one perspective or one angle to be shooting down upon the enemy, and that's going to be the area that they're going to be the most aware of where they're going to be getting hit from. But if you've got your team spread out just a tiny bit, where you can get a different angle on the enemy, they're going to have to be paying attention in multiple directions, can throw them off, and you can eat away their enemy's hit points a lot faster. So once again, utilizing the rock and the building here just a little bit, closing in on this last guy. So much better replay. You can already see a little bit more effectively on how you want to be using this tank. You want to be utilizing your speed. You want to be utilizing that cannon accuracy and effectiveness by getting your targets from a distance. You can't rely on your gun dispersion very much, and that'll help you win with this tank. So once again, not a bad game. Good effort by the team as well. They also were doing their job, as that's what you need to win. So this is StudMuffin 1986. Thanks for watching. Hope this review helped, and let me know if you want me to do this with any other tank. Thanks again.